Hey everybody, welcome back to TomGirl. Tonight you are in for a good one because you never know what might come out of this guy's mouth. But it's a good thing he's been getting paid to talk for many, many years. We have commercial and VO actor Scott Parkin. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
A little mellow music, a cold, rainy night in LA.
Boy, it is.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody I'd rather spend this night with than you, Mr. Scott Parkin.
Come on, that's crazy. It's so nice to see you. I don't think I've seen you in a while.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in Atlanta at the convention, but
We
it's
sure
been a while.
did.
You're a
Good
busy girl.
Yeah. Well, you too. And thank you for coming in and trekking through the rain today.
We don't get a lot of rain normally, but now it's really coming down. So people in LA are actually doing okay driving now.
Yeah. And
What happens once every 6 months, they're horrible. But this is better.
And I've completely transitioned because, still the weather here is nothing like the Midwest and Nebraska and other places where they're getting piled and piles of snow. But, all of us LA people bring out the beanies and the hats. You were in with the hat today. We all do it during the
every day, but I love it. When it gets below 70, everyone's like, oh my God, sweaters, sweaters, Ugg boots.
It's the little things.
I know, it's true.
All right. Well, I want to talk about you tonight. I know so much about you, but there's so much more I need to know.
I overshare on Facebook a lot.
I love it.
I really do.
It was great to do research on you and go to your Facebook.
It's easy.
So yeah,
easy,
everybody
right?
check out his Facebook and his Instagram feeds. Fantastic. Lots of good
Thank you. I've got a couple. I've started doing. It gives me the excuse to be on there so much. So I have America's Commercial Actor Scott Parkin is a page, and then I have Real Stories from a Reluctant Adult. So my story page, because everyone kept going, hey, you write really good stories. Why don't you put them all in one place? So that gives me the illusion that there's actually work being done.
Now tell me about the America's Favorite Commercial Actor, because you have done thousands of commercials on camera, VO, radio spots, all kinds of things. So
I think I started in commercials when I was in my 20s. I did a radio commercial for KZAP in Sacramento, right? And I think I said the word repetition like 8 times. You like your music, but you don't like repetition. You don't like things repeated. You don't like the same song over, and it was horrible. But I weaseled my way into the morning show because I was funny on the audition. I was still in college, and it was with Kevin Boom Boom Anderson and K-Zap in Sacramento, Sacramento's best rock. So it was one of those, I'm old, so it was back in the late 70s, early 80s. So that was kind of how that went. I started doing commercials almost before I started doing radio. And then did radio for 11 years, bounced around with the highest paid migrant workers because you get fired and you have all your stuff. I can't cuss, can I?
You can cuss.
Okay. You have all your shit in the middle of the country. And that, like I got my first gig in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was from Sacramento, middle class, suburb of Sacramento. And they called and I'd done a couple bits with the morning guy, and he had made a tape and sent it out. And they said, yeah, we'd like you to come out to audition in Oklahoma. Have you ever been? And I said, it's one of the square ones in the middle, right? Because I'd never, the furthest east I'd been was the Nevada side of Heavenly Valley Ski Resort. Because we're all, just skiing, right? So they said, okay, well, we did it, and they're going to move you out there. So I did it for, I think, 1.5 years, 2 years, and then we got fired. New management. And we had just gotten jackets, and like members-only jackets. And there was a big meeting, and they said, listen, we're changing formats, and I'm afraid we're going to have to let you all go. And of course, being a 23-year-old guy who left college to go into radio, I said, oh man, we just got jackets. all the old guys were like, oh, look at the unjaded guy. Well done. So then, you got all your shit and you're in the middle of the all your shit. I had a couch and a microwave. So then I was like, okay. So I put an ad in the paper that said, hey, come meet Z104 personality Scott Parkin. Talk about old times. And buy his stuff. So I had a garage sale and moved back to Sacramento and then bounced around. Ended up in Dallas for about 10 years doing morning radio and improv. Started doing improv there. And once you do improv, I did stand up. I had a good 16 minutes of horrible material I could do in front of. I opened for Dennis Miller and Emo Phillips and Rob Scheidner, those guys back in the day. I was okay. It was much better with the crowd in improv. And once you do improv, once I did improv, I didn't want to do stand-up anymore because stand-up is so goddamn hard. You have to refine and work a joke, and then by the time you're you're done working it, you're sick of it, but you got to use it because there's a club owner going, all right, that was a good laugh. That was, So
Yeah.
once I tried improv with my buddy Ed Yeager and Tom Blackwood with 4 to 5 Doctors, I was like, oh my God, this is every pore in your body opens and it's the biggest rush. No one's coming to get you, and my head already moves really quickly. So I was just thrilled, and so improv was the thing for me.
So you didn't have some of the fear, like a lot of people have the fear of improv of
Oh, no,
what's going to come to my mind, what do I have, like.
It was more, I definitely had that fear, but a fair amount of pot and a couple of beers really helped. Back then, I couldn't do that now. There's no way I could do what we did. We would have a thing called Gentlemen's Club outside, and we would, take a couple tokes and jump on stage. There's no way I could do that now. Not a chance. The pot is way too strong. It's way too strong. And my head isn't as fast as it was. But yeah, once you start doing improv in a group, and then you get to do that, and it's cross-cultural. It works in so much commercial auditioning is improv. And there's even a lot. I worked on Gary Unmarried with my buddy Ed Yeager at CBS, and that, a lot of in the joke room, you're improvising and trying to find areas to beat jokes. So improv has been sort of a mainstay. I teach kids improv at Gray Studios, improv and commercial acting. And that is most days just a friggin' blast. Because watching 4 to 10-year-olds improvise, they have no filter. It's wonderful.
Yeah, kids are all the best for just keeping everything real and true. But I do want to get into all that.
Yeah.
We have a shot of you with the kids there.
My kids have booked literally, like I think last year they booked 100 commercials. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And you see some of them like Aria and Rainey and Piper I've had for a long time, and others you see for like a month or 2 months, and then you see them on TV somewhere, or you don't. My thing is, I think I'm talking too fast, but I really like confidence, and I really try, because not everyone's going to hang out in show business. Good Lord, I hope not, right? But I always preach, listen, this is about confidence, and we want them to be happy and confident. If they hate it, don't make them do it. Don't make them do it.
What are things that you learned from the kids?
Oh my God. I learned just to lose any filter that I did have, and patience. You learn patience, and you realize you can't go, look, you can't do that, and they start to tear up, and you're like, oh my gosh, no, we're all good, it's all good, but it's a funny thing, and you realize you have to. I really pride myself on being able to teach to each person's level in the same room, which is not easy because you have a bunch of different levels and you have a bunch of emotional different levels. I got 4-year-olds next to 10-year-olds. So you got to pair up the right. It teaches you how to be more patient and to just be nicer. I think just to be nicer and just to go, oh, how great. Because my daughter's 18, and I really like kids at that age, and so it's fun to. And then the parents. Some of the parents are so nice. They give you gifts and they give you accolades, and they're like, listen, she loves this class. I don't know if we're going to be in acting for a while, but she just loves it here, and we're going to keep coming as long as you're here. And it just gives you, it takes a lot for me to drive from Venice to the Valley every Saturday. I know it sounds
That's a commitment.
weird, but I would rather be on the beach most days. But most days you go there, and if you're bummed out or if you know our business. It's just filled with friggin' rejection. Like, okay, thanks. Okay, well, if you don't like me, I'll come back tomorrow. No, okay, still don't. Okay, great. It's a lot of rejection. So when you feel like crap and you go in there and they're all like, oh my God, they're dancing around. They're just like doing fake interviews. And when they get stuff and they we play freeze tag and we do all kinds of like standard improv drills that you do with adults. And it just gives you, it makes me happy. I'm liking teaching a lot. My mom is a teacher for 35 years, master's degree in special ed, and 2 master's degrees. Sorry, Mom, 2 master's. I said that the other day. I said, yeah, you got a master's degree. She said, 2. And she was a single mom too.
Wow.
So she did all that training for her master's degree while it was just she and I at the house.
Yeah.
So.
And special ed it takes very special people to do that as well. My cousin's a special ed teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And what's very interesting is that my daughter Miranda, started out very early. She tested gifted early because her mom insisted on having her tested, even though everyone's lost. Like, can we just wait? Everyone knew, right? It was already a thing. So she I yelled at a kid, and she goes, Dad, that is a special kid. lower your voice. And she's 6. And she read really early. So she would go and read to the special ed kids. So I was working in the special ed class, and I said, "Can Miranda come in?" And they said, "Oh no, they love Miranda." I'm like, "Oh," because someone their own age is just phenomenal for them, and she's always loved that. She's a great teacher and works great with kids. She teaches kids art, or whatever. So teaching is I'm pro teacher. I was raised by teacher. My mom was, and I was in teachers' rooms, which was when you're a kid and you're in elementary school and you go to my mom's school, which was Pershing. I went to Fair Oaks, right? And you go in the teacher's room and some kid sees you come out of there and they're like, it's like you're a civilian and you've gone behind military lines.
Yep.
It was, so I was raised around teachers, and our teachers are on strike right now. So walked the picket line yesterday with them, helped them put a couple easy ups, and we're going to go out again tomorrow and bring some coffee, and it's rainy, and they're out on the streets marching.
I know. I feel bad for both of my parents were teachers too, and my grandma. So I know everything what you're saying. I used to love to go to my parents' schools and then run and get a play in the gyms at their school when nobody's there.
Exactly.
It was just like a giant
volleyball on Tuesday nights.
It's fun.
And then lots of Miller Lights afterwards.
I didn't unfortunately get to do that.
No,
but
I was 7. I didn't drink, but that was the big drink. I was like, hey, it's a light beer. It was brand new. This is how old I am. I was born in +62, so.
I thought you were cracking them open back at 7.
Oh,
And I was like, that's impressive.
What's up? Construction worker at 7. So yeah, sure.
Well, I want to talk more about your daughter a little bit because I love, she's so talented, and I want to hear about raising a TomGirl. But I want to dive back to the radio just for a bit.
Sure,
for people maybe that are interested, that might be listening in a career in radio. Do you have advice?
I think this is radio. I think what you're doing, what you do here, and what everyone does here, podcasts are what radio used to be like. No, very few rules, and you could just cut loose. I got out of radio. By the time I got out of radio in '90, I'd come back from the '90. I covered the Albertville Olympics in France, where Bonnie Blair won her 5 back in the day. And when I got back, I came in and tried the door code, and it was like, oh, well, the door code doesn't work. That's weird. They only do that when somebody's been. Oh, okay. Let me ask Shelley. Oh, okay. Shelley's not there. I've been fired. And so that was the last time, and that station got sold and flipped like 4 times. So radio is I don't know that I could advise anybody because it's such a different beast. It seems like our business in voiceover, that it's expanded. There's never been more opportunity, and there's never been more competition or less money. So I feel like my buddy Paul Slavens has a great public radio show in Dallas, and they can record everything all ahead of time and lay in the music ahead of time all on a file and roll it. So it's not the live radio thing. Well, his is live some days, but when he's gigging, it's not. This is not advice. This is just me rambling. That reminds me of a funny story, JJ, when I was in radio at WWRIY. I would say, if you're passionate about it and you really like it, find where your niche is. Find who you like. I really used to like Don Imus. I like Stern, but I was more of an Imus guy and my buddy John Rohde in Dallas is still one of the best freeform radio cats in the world, where they just crack the mic and go, "Wow, what's going on out there?" and just roll. That kind of thing I think is less prevalent as right now. Here's Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco, and then they go right into the music. So I would say be passionate about it, work on your vocal skills and your diction, and put together a nice demo and start sending it out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, that sure does. And then for you, how
Let's
did you
take
make
some
that?
calls.
I know. I need my laptop, and we could.
And here's Radar Love.
We could actually ask questions. Now, for you, making the transition into being a VO and commercial actor and doing your improv, but what was the decision to do that, and how hard was it for you to break into VO and get that success you've had?
The decision was made for me when they fired me the last time. But at that point in time, I had already started doing voiceover a fair amount and started to do a lot of improv and on-camera stuff. And so I didn't make another tape after that. After I got fired in Dallas from KZPS, I had a good agent. Kim Dawson was there, and I was already starting to knock down some okay money doing what is now called the conversational reel read and improvising for VO, which is what I teach, by the way. I didn't know that's what it was. I didn't sound like a lot of the other people. Right now you get 5 of those for just $8. I didn't have the 18 testicles. I just didn't have that. I just talked the way I talked. And so I had already started doing that, and I started writing, and I just never made another tape after that because I was making enough money doing the other thing and being on stage every week, and it was very cool. And we had a fairly good corporate business. My old partner, Tom Blackwood, was a really good manager. So our improv group would do corporate gigs at Disney World, or we'd do, gigs all over the place and a lot of parties. So I was making enough cheese, and I was kind of a dumbass hippie living in a house in East Dallas, hanging out with the new Bohemians and, playing Frisbee golf. So that was a lot of that. So I didn't really feel a lot of pressure to go back into radio because it was an easy path for me. Great agent. I really loved it. I've always loved good radio. Lohman and Barkley were my heroes from LA. I used to get tapes of them. And I love radio. I love radio commercials. A lot of people are like, oh, you booked a gig? Oh, it's radio? Oh, I'm like, no, man, give me the radio. Yeah. I love radio. And I love, this really to me is the new radio. So it's what radio used to be. Freeform, very little rules, and a very intimate audience. It's very weird because people would really think that they know you when they're on the radio. When you listen to it, they listen to you every morning. Yeah. And they're like, I listen to you naked all the time. I'm in the shower. So they feel like they really know. So they'll come up and I would, as I've already proved here by saying 50 words per second. And my Facebook pages, I talk about my personal life a lot. My heart is on my sleeve, everything. It's all out there. It's not great for my daughter or for me, but it is the way it is, and I don't know how else to go at it. So they would come up and go, oh, I'm sorry you broke up with Pamela. Are you okay? And I'm like, thanks, I forgot I shared that, but yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. But I think this is that way. This is that way too. It's a lot more intimate.
Yeah, it definitely is true about the morning radio, especially I think out here in LA too, where we're in our cars so much. I mean, I listen to the same people every morning, and you do feel like you know so much in their lives because they're sharing
it's true.
and talking about it.
I did in France. Kevin was from Kevin and Bean. I still think those two guys are some of the best guys in radio. I really like that cat. He's been around forever. We were in France together, staying at it was really cool because the head of Coca-Cola had said, hey, bring all these radio teams from all over the country. There's guys from Philly and New York and Chicago and LA and Dallas, and we were the guys from Dallas. And the head of Coca-Cola had this like 5-room chalet at the top of Courchevel, which is like the Aspen of the area. Albertville was like a shit town. It was like a little industrial corporate town at the bottom of the hill. But Courchevel was this, and it was so we got to stay. He and his wife separated or something, so he didn't come over. Sorry, I know it's been 20 years, but I don't blame myself. But it was this giant chalet, so we stayed in this fantastic chalet for 5 days and just went to all these Olympic events. It was just amazing. It's so weird because you'd have to leave for an event. They had drivers and everything, and you'd have to leave an event 4 hours before the event to get through securities. And there's guys with machine guns, and you go by them, and you go like we went to the 90-meter hill, the jumping one, which I was fucking just thrilled. It was so great, and it was right when the Soviet Union had broken up. So it was the first time Estonia had an actual skier in an event, right? So I mean, because it's always been Russia for the longest time since they borrowed Estonia from the Estonians. I don't want to get shot by any. A lot of Russians, a lot of dicey Russians. But anyway, so there's one Estonian guy, and everyone in the Swiss had their giant bells, and the other people had horns and flags. There was one Estonian guy who was so happy each time their skier was horrible. But he'd go off the thing, and he would just wave this huge flag, and we'd all go, and the Estonian crowd goes wild! Look at him go! It was just phenomenal. And each little town up the hill as you went, sorry, this is Tangentville, sorry, but each little town on the way up had their own cheese. They made their own type of cheese. And then at the restaurants up top, there was this giant, it was like a wheel of cheese next to a space heater. And at each little segment was from another town that you just went through. And they would heat it up, and they'd take a stick and put it on a baguette and hand it to you. It's like, cheese is heroin, man. Yeah. It's so good. It was just, I loved France. It was a blast.
How great to get to have that adventure, doing something that you loved.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. It was great. And then I got fired when I got back and got into voiceover and TV. So.
Well, Digging into the TV.
Yeah.
You've also been on a lot of. I look up and I saw you just the other day. I'm like, did I just see your face on a Walgreens spot?
Boy, you'd have to look real close.
I saw it though.
Yes.
So how have you kind of cracked the nut, so to say, on the commercial world out here? Because it can be tough to again break into that as well and get as much success as you had.
I came out. I had a couple a thing when I moved out in '98, but I'd come out for pilot season and failed miserably at pilots because I didn't have a theatrical agent, which apparently I guess you need. So I ended up doing commercials. Commercials were a little simpler for me to try and crack than, look, it's not my baby. Okay, I couldn't do soap operas. I couldn't do any of that. So commercials were a little easier for me to get in. I'm comfortable in front of the camera, improvise well. So, and I tried really hard. I just tried really hard. I would go anywhere, drive anywhere, anytime to audition. So I got a good agent. I mean, I have a really good agent now. I'm with DPN for on camera, and I've been with Jeff for 20 years. So, and I've been with Jennifer for about 5. So you have to have a really solid agent, and you have to train, and you have to reinvent yourself. And part of our job is not getting depressed, and it's depressing. So so surfing, the beach, the kid, the couch, all those things. Let's not go crazy. I don't want to say balance, but it keeps you from, taking a bath and throwing the toaster in, one hopes, right? So, I mean, I would say improvisation is probably one of the best skills you can have if you want to get into commercials, because so much is improvised. Even if there's I auditioned for something today where there was a couple lines, but you can open. He said, do what you want up front, and then I got nothing at the end. So they, I button it, and I don't care. You don't want to see your stuff being used without you. That's happened to me in 2 Super Bowl spots where they used my joke and didn't use me, and that's really frustrating. But I'm not going to stop because it's my edge. It gets me many more callbacks. All I want to do when I'm doing a commercial audition is get to the callback. Because if you can get to the callback, then you get to work with the director and the creative people. And then if they like the way you do stuff and they see that you can take direction and collaborate, then it's all a fucking coin toss. It's like, his forehead is different. His ear, one eye is, then it's all out of your hands. I always tell my kids and anybody that I coach, what can you control? Can you be taller? Can you change your hair color? Can you be prettier than that person or bigger? Can you have more hair? No. Can't control any of that stuff. So you've got to flush all that stuff and can control what you can control. And I firmly believe that. I'm not saying I do that, but that's what you got to flush all that stuff. Because the second you go, oh, dude, that guy's lighter than me. I've seen that guy in so many things. I've seen that guy everywhere. He's really freaking good. Then you're not in the moment. And for that little brief time, you got to stay present.
Yeah. That's a super good point, because you walk in those rooms and there's 40 other people that have the same type as you or look as you. And and then so your advice, I want to get down to the tips that that you teach your students. So one thing, like you said, for people who may have missed what he was going with there, if you have a script and there's lines on there that you have to say in the audition, but you'll go ahead and throw in your own, either at the top or somewhere throughout.
I will.
To,
if they ask me to hey, have fun with it, because they can't legally say, hey, improvise on this and write this for us, because they can't do that, and that's fine, and I'm glad that the union says that, but I'm going to do it unless they say, hey, listen, stick to the script. You should get to stick to this. I mean, you should give them, as a writer of copy in commercials, you should stick to the script and do their lines. But if you're good at it and you feel like something fits and it tracks with your character, definitely you're going to throw some stuff in and make the language your own and make it more real. If it's not like that, listen, your mother and I think that we're going to be divorced and things are going to change around the house. You're going to stick to the script and do that thing. But if there is room, if they do say, hey, man, have fun with it, make it your own, all those little sayings that mean, hey, dude, improvise, you're okay, go ahead. I'm definitely going to do that. And I'm going to train for improv if I'm just getting into this, but I'm going to train, because if you can improvise, there's nothing they can throw at you on a set or in an audition that you can't handle. They could throw out the script and go, oh, geez, it's not working. And yeah, I want to be the guy that goes, okay, cool. What's next? What are we going to do? How can I help? Rather than, oh shit, I just memorized all that stuff and boy, I was doing really good. I really like what I was doing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And are your tips for training? Where do you like to go? What do you do on your own?
Let me see. For voiceover or for on camera?
Let's start.
On camera, I would say you want to work with good casting directors. Ross Lacey has a great class. Allison Horn has a great class. These are casting people, and it's not pay for play, but they will get a look at you. And if you're good, they might remember you. And either way, you're going to learn some stuff about what they like, how to go at it, and be low maintenance. Put your phone down. It's really hard for me. I've put my phone down. It's been sitting there the whole time, and I haven't picked it up because I'm majorly addicted to most things, really. But put your phone down, stay in focus. As far as training, I would work. I mean, the Groundlings is expensive. Those things are, if there's a drop-in class, West Side Comedy Club has a drop-in improv. Look for that. Find a home club that you like, or a place that you like. You like their product. You like what they do. Oh, I like that. I fit somewhere like that. It's the same way with voiceover. You're trying to break into voiceover. Listen to radio and TV. Don't listen to Sirius because they don't run that many spots, right? Listen to terrestrial radio. Google it. And listen where you fit. Oh, I have a version of that. I can talk like that. Or I can talk like that. Or I can talk like Rubio's taco guy, or whatever it is. Find out where you fit and then work outwards.
Now, you've kind of also found a way to take your passions and things that you love, voiceover, acting, and all that, and now, like you mentioned earlier, going into the teaching, because you teach to the kids,
Yes.
but you also teach all over voiceover workshops in other countries.
I do.
So talk to us about that.
In the Marilyn Wisner, who's just such a backbone of our voiceover coaching
awesome.
industry. Years ago, I had sat with her at Jody Bradley's, where this is people you don't know. But anyway, Bradley's a nice guy, and I work with him. And his wife is fabulous, 2 kids. But I said, man, is anyone teaching conversational read or improv? And she goes, no. And then a couple glasses of wine later, she's like, you should come. I'm going to have, I said, yes, please. So I came in and did a voiceover pros, or meet the pros with her. And it was great. I love teaching, and I got in front of people and taught. And this was maybe 3.5 years ago. And a couple of people went, hey, do you coach privately? And she said, yes, he does. And I went, yes, I do. So I teach a lot via Skype. And then that led to Atlanta, teaching in Atlanta. And then that led to Voice Tracks up in San Francisco. And then that led to my tornado of talent, Rachel Naylor in London, who I'm just a massive fan of.
You ladies
Rachel
know, you guys know,
Naylor.
she was on here too.
She did. She
awesome.
actually left my house to try.
Yep.
She's like, "Oh, just grab a lift." I'm like, it's 5, right? It's 4, and it's going to be like $1,000. No, it'd be great. Brilliant. My daughter does a phenomenal Rachel Naylor impression. Yay, limoncello. I can't do it. Anyway, I got to go teach over in London and to the Voiceover Network, and they were just brilliant. So many different accents over there. Oh, don't start it. So that was great. And then we went to Scotland for 4 days with the kid. I took the kid, and that was great. Met Dave Peacock, who's a great animation director over there. So Miranda got to take his class while I was talking, and it was just great. So I'm doing. Mary Lynn has started this really cool thing called the Voiceover, the VO Road Show, and it's where you take 2 or 3 really good coaches in a certain emphasis. Like Tom Pinto's an ace with narration. Jeff Howell is a promo guy. Dave Fenoy, Sissy is one of they're just great at each thing they do: animation, narration, and commercials. And we'll come to a town. We'll party it down. No, sorry. So we're in America. All right. So we come into town, and it's like, a year's worth of coaching in a weekend. So you'll spend time with each of us, and it starts soon. It starts like I have it written down on my phone. Not written down on my phone. The first one is in L.A., And that is coming up January 26th. And that's with Jeff Howell for promos, Mary Lynn for commercials, and Tom Bento for narrations. Then we're in San Francisco with me on commercials, Jeff on promos, and Sissy Jones on character video games. Sissy Jones has won another award because she's just friggin' fantastic.
Yeah.
Then we're going to Boston, Portland, Chicago, Dallas, and Nashville this year, and many other places.
It's so great for all you people who have written in and asked about, how to get involved in VO, what classes to go to.
Way.
Yeah, it's wonderful because you don't have to worry about like some of those conferences you talked about are great, but sometimes it's just either a lot of money, a lot to travel to, a lot. But to have them come, you guys go to their towns and go to these places are great opportunities for you guys to get taught by some of the best people.
Get your feet wet and figure out what you want to do. There's also a great thing. I get to go to Spain with Jay Michaels, and that's really exciting. And that's already sold out, but that's a really intensive thing. That's a week where you work, and when you leave, you've got stuff recorded. So there's all different ways to go at it. You can get your foot wet. You can dive in all the way.
Yeah.
So,
Fantastic. Well, I definitely recommend. I'm sure they can probably go to your Facebook site to find out more information about this.
Sure, I don't have a website.
I'm sorry, your Facebook site, like on Facebook.
No, it's fine. Yeah, come to Facebook, and you can always message me, and we can chat. But the VO Roadshow has a site, and J. Michael Collins has a great site, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. So, can I talk about the kid a little?
That was going to go there next.
Okay,
Let's talk about the kid.
Okay, so this is something she did because we're giant nerds.
Stand up a little bit. Can you guys see that on there?
No. Is that all right? This is from the award-winning episode called The USS Callister on Black Mirror. And she hit me to Black Mirror, and we watched this. She picked and chose which episode, because it's an anthology. It's kind of like Twilight Zone with a tech bent. But anyway, it's the coolest show, and it's very dark and very cool. And this episode was great, and we loved it. And she said, "Dad, I got a really good idea for a artwork." So we did this artwork, and she did it, and I went, "Oh my God, that's freaking great! We should make T-shirts." Started making T-shirts, and then Milanka, the gal that plays the blue girl, contacted us on Instagram, contacted her and said, "I love that shirt. I'm in the cast." And we said, "We're giving you a shirt." So we sent her a shirt. Then she sent one to Oshi, and God, I'm not going to remember all their names because it's been a year. But Dudani, the guy that plays Dudani, they're all in London. They all got shirts, and then the director of photography, the sound. So today, and then Townsend Coleman, who's one of my voiceover heroes, took Miranda to a Netflix event where they watched the Callister on a big USS Callister on a giant screen, and there was a panel discussion. And she asked a question at the end, and I said, "You got to take your damn shirts." She's she's the antithesis of me, right? If I have a big head, she is the most humble, oh my God, everything sucks. No, stay away. No, it's not good. So I said, "Take the shirts," and she goes, "Okay." So she bravely went up to Jimmy Simpson and said, "Hey, I got you something." He's like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Like, I made this." "What do you mean you made this? With your hands?" She's like, "Yeah, I drew it." And he's like, "This is amazing." This gives me goosebumps. She goes, "This is amazing. Oh my God, this is." So he walks around the whole Netflix event. It was for your consideration space where they're trying to get people to look at their thing and vote for the Emmys, which it won, and it should have won. But he took it around to everybody. Christy Milotti and I'm going to get his name wrong because I always say Cory Brooker, but it's Booker. And he got one, the creator of the whole series. So about 150 of the crew of this thing have my daughter's shirt, and it's fabulous. And then we moved on to the Peaky Blinders, and then some of their crew started asking for it. So it's a very weird world where people that she does fan art for, like Jermaine Clement, like she did some for Tamatoa after Moana, and she did another thing for What We Do in the Shadows, which is also him. He messages her and says, "This is really cool. Thank you so much." She did one for Mindhunter, and the Holt McElhaney contacted her as well and said, "This is great. My friend who's in the FBI really loves it." And then he contacted her and bought a cup. It's just a weird. It'd be as if, like, Marsha Brady called me and said, "Man, I really like your drawings." It's insane the amount of connection. Right? With the actual. Some of them are. You can tell they're a managed account, and they're like, "Hey, thanks for watching," or tell me, I could tell you how to get more followers. You can see when it's not that, but there are so many people that know who she is because of her fan art, and that's just really fun. And I was talking to her about the TomGirl thing, because I think the category has broadened since I was a kid. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
How I started it was I grew up a tomboy, but I also
Yeah.
love like girly things. Like I love
that's where-
fashion, red carpets, like all that.
That's
so.
where she is because
Yeah.
she was never. We were. I was. I was asked to be divorced when she was 3. So I was a single dad at 3, and it was like, what the fuck do I do here? So I'm a museum guy. I'm a nature guy. That's where I'm happiest. So immediately we got memberships and that's what I would say to any single father or single mother. Get a membership to the Natural History Museum, the Long Beach Aquarium, and any other museum that you can, because it's a great place to start them. It's a great place. That's where we would exercise and run too. Besides that, in Sports Chalet, a lot of time in Sports Chalet hiding in the sleeping bags. When it closed, we were like, oh man, that was our gym.
You're I love like watching this father-daughter, relationship, and you're very supportive of her artwork and getting everything out there. Like what are some things that you've learned along the way, like navigating being like the father of a TomGirl? And
Well, I'll tell you, like when people go, oh my God, you're such a good dad. I'm like, thank you. I'm good at some things and I'm horrible at others. But nobody posts about when you make your daughter cry because you're putting too much pressure on them, or you say something wrong, or just do horrible things. Being more aware of when to back off I've learned a lot about that, because she is so damn good at so many things. She's such a good singer. She's such a good artist. She did ADR for The Escape Room, which is the #2 movie in the country. And I sat next to her and I said, okay, tap me one of your lines. She was like, tapping me when I didn't recognize her voice. Wow. And she has a phenomenal ear. So it's about, for me, it's about finding when to shut the hell up and get out of the way, and when to gently go, hey, those people want that picture that you drew, so we need to print those up.
Yeah.
It's a balance, and I fail miserably constantly. I really do. And I'm doing my best. We're all just doing our best.
Yeah.
Man.
How fun has it been? I think we have a picture before we go to the travel one. I want to talk about
Thailand.
Yeah, I want to hear about this next. I want to hear. I have a picture of you guys in. That's a couple of her artwork. And then you guys also were in like the VO booth together. How's it been to get a share? Like you said, she's just doing voice ADR, but getting her to kind of follow your passion now. How's that?
It was the best. She started because she could read really early, because she has a giant brain. She could read early, and I brought her into ICM, and she would book. At the time, her mom didn't want her to get into it, so eventually we weren't able. The ICM was like, look, we can't not have her show up, so we had to stop. But we were able to pick it up in the last 4 years. So, but she could read really early, and she has a really good ear. And so she nearly won an Emmy for a promo video she did for the University of Miami when she was 5. So, there was a big gap there, but she already had a good handle on it. And what happened last year was I read for a McDonald's spot with her, and that was really fun. And then she booked it, and I did not. So I was the driver to drive her to the studio. But it's really fun to
You didn't
watch.
peek in. Sure, you didn't want me. Sure, didn't want me too.
Yeah, I'm really good at being her dad.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll be right over here. But it's, good Lord, it's fun to sit in a movie theater and watch your daughter's work. It's phenomenal.
Great.
It's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing. I can't think of anything better.
Right. Well, now let's go to the adventure picture. So I stalked I think this was your Instagram or Facebook, but I found these. So I want to hear about this adventure you guys took together.
My brother has a chalet in a boutique hotel in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And my mom flew us all over there 2 years ago. So we stayed there for 7 days, and we did everything. He had these vans rented for us, so we had a driver, and we did every frickin' thing you could do. We went ziplining. We went to hang with the elephants, the rescue elephants, not the ones. Don't ride on the elephants. They're not fans of that. It hurts them. So we went and fed them and hung out with them in the zipline. There you go. So it was just one of the coolest things. It's a long ass flight, and flying to Beijing, and then being stuck on a dark tarmac like you're part of Argo for an hour is weird, but it was great. It was just the coolest thing, and my whole family was there, and no one killed each other, so it was great. And the food he's got these chefs, and they're just so happy to see you. The Thai people are just the most gracious people that I think I've ever met. They're just thrilled, and we had so many different types of food, and The kids just loved it. She got her hair dyed. You get an hour and a half massage for $3, and like my brother says, if you want to start a restaurant in Thailand, get a stove, because I walked across the street and had this red curry thing at a place that had 3 seats. The table, and you get a Chiang Mai beer, and it was the coolest thing. It was just great. It was one of the greatest trips.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Sign me up for that.
Yeah, man, dude, you love it. He has this great chalet, and it's really inexpensive, and it's first class all the way. It's right on the river, and it's just stunning. Yeah,
I'm marking that down.
Yeah. No, you absolutely should. Yeah, it's called 88 Place, and it's in Thailand, and it is phenomenal. Yeah. You will be attended to every possible need you can imagine.
I'll take that 3-hour massage for sure.
I know. And the night bazaar is really great. And watching my niece, Hartley, was the best haggler, because they're really we were like, okay, you don't take the first or second offer. If you really want it, you just wait. And the guy, and she would go, how much is this? And Hartley would, and the gal would say, that's like 45 baht. And Hartley would go, she'd go, 30? Oh. She barely even spoke.
Yeah.
She's I think 11 at the time, but she was just amazing. We called it Lutheraning them down.
I don't know that.
Right?
Yep. Oh, I could talk to you forever, and I know we're just about out of time.
Oh, we are? Oh, my God, that was
before
fast.
we go. Oh, yeah. There's another shot of
There
you.
you
There you
go.
are, surfing too.
There you
You're a
go.
big surfer, so
I like to
that
do
should be
the
good.
old school 20s, like the sort of the onesie that the guy used with the stripes. That's right down from Muscle Beach there at my home break at Venice. Mason Brown's not there, but he's usually there. And we surf there every Sunday, so if you want to come down, I'm sort of a beach Sherpa. So I bring I've tried to get you down there several times.
Resolution, I am coming this year.
I
for
promise
sure.
you. And I promise everybody, this is the same promise. We'll get you up on a surfboard long enough to get a new profile picture.
I'm
and
in.
that's all it takes.
I'm in.
Is it
As soon
really
as this
over?
rain,
Is it really over?
It is, but
Oh my God.
we're coming real quick. We do
Okay,
a Tom Girl of the Week here each week. This is
good.
my Tom Girl of the Week, Paige Vanzant, just because I absolutely freaking love this woman, and she is fighting this Saturday night on ESPN, you guys.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so she's in the...
Who's she fighting?
She's fighting Rachel Ostovich.
Okay. My cousins are Nick and Nate Diaz, who are MMA champions and
know
some of
that.
the most badass fighters ever. Yeah.
How funny that... Yeah.
Yeah. I know her.
Yeah.
She is a badass.
She is a badass, and she's so cute, and she's just fun on Instagram and stuff too. She has a new book out called Rise, so she's an author, she's a chef, she was on Dancing with the Stars. I just think she's a fun, spunky personality. So if you guys want to check out the fight this weekend, check that out.
Beautiful.
All right, so before we wrap up with you,
Sure.
anything like what's next? Where can we kind of said we can get your classes?
I do have the Walgreens commercial running. I'm still punching up scripts that I can't talk about. I did some commercials that I don't think I can talk about, but it rhymes with Apple. Let's say it rhymes with Apple.
I got it.
All right. Okay. Is that all right?
Yep.
How many S's in apples? Jesus.
I was a little slow on that one.
No, you weren't. I think when I said it, I was like, it's not Apple computers. That
Because I haven't thought of that drink for a while.
That drink, no, it's a great drink. Tastes just like the fruit, whatever we're talking about.
Yep. Yes,
They're
exactly.
They're damn funny too.
Okay, well, look out for those.
Yeah,
Awesome.
please do.
All right.
And I'll be in San Francisco teaching, and I teach. I Skyped all over the country each week.
All right. And again, how can people contact you if they want to
You
teach?
can absolutely hit me up on my Instagram, Scott_Parkin or something like that.
Scott Parkin _.
Yeah, it's my daughter working again. And then I have Facebook, America's Commercial Actor. I'm always there. Real Stories from a Reluctant Adult is on Facebook as well. Just message me. I'm around.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
You're a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much for having me on. I'm so glad. I wasn't sure that you had boys on, and I was like,
Oh, we
hey,
do.
Clearly,
We like
yeah.
the boys,
Joe
too.
Cipriano said he'd
Yes.
been on, and
Yeah.
Rachel's been on, so I'm just glad. It's a great show.
Yep. Thank you for coming. Appreciate
you.
it. All right.
My pleasure.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you here again next week. Bye-bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.